Right, let's look at our review for this week. Let's start with Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance on the weekly chart. Let's look at it from a monthly chart perspective, right? And see if there's anything going on there. We're not at the close of the month yet, but it's good to see what's going on. So, a couple of things that I'm seeing is this here and this here, there's a divergence. So if RSI doesn't go up above, I'll open this up for you. So we got RSI sitting above here, excuse me, there. So if RSI doesn't go above here, and which I don't think is likely, but I could be wrong, then we have a divergence here and we have a divergence there. Now that presents a very good picture in terms of the altcoins because which means um, dominance is going to break down. But that's the month. The month is not completed yet, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go to the weekly chart, have a look at the weekly chart. So the weekly chart, again, there is a divergence also on the weekly chart. This peak here and that peak versus here and here. So you can see there's a divergence between here and there's a divergence between there. So it's bearish on this chart, but it's not broken down yet. We need it to break above this 9-day moving average, which is sitting at 59.8. And if it breaks below that and confirm, then that would confirm a big fall on dominance to come below 54, which will give the altcoins a really, really big push, right? To go as high as they can. So we're getting there. We're not there yet. I would say we're getting there, but we're not there yet. So let's see what the daily chart is looking like. Um, I mean, for the weekly chart, I mean, if by Sunday midnight today, midnight, this chart is red, then that'll be really, really good because that confirms that actually we're gonna go down. If this is green and it's kind of trying to poke itself above here, that won't be good. So it depends on how this closes, but I think, it's looking pretty good, I think. Um, and even if you go and look at it on a 4-hour scale, um, so on a 4-hour scale, I want to see my MACD waves. So you can see here, that was the peak, right? We're falling down. All this here is one leg down, and we've gone up. And so we need a few more legs down as well. So it definitely, this thing is going to break down, but it could also go up again first. It could go up a bit more first before breaking down. So that's just a word of caution. It could try to go back up to even here before, which means the altcoin still would kind of, fall down a little bit, right? Okay, so let's look at so that's Bitcoin dominance. More likely, I'm erring on the side of Bitcoin dominance breaking down, provided that, you know, provided that where is the weekly chart? Provided the weekly chart turns red, then I'll be more confident at that point. So it depends on how we close midnight, but there's a lot of divergences at play, which I think would be helpful for our course. I think in the coming days, even if it doesn't happen like into Monday, today into Monday, it could happen towards the end of the week into next week. So that March probably will be a very good month, I think, on that basis. Let's look at Bitcoin itself and see what Bitcoin is doing. I want this one. I don't want any others. I want this one. So Bitcoin is on, this is the weekly chart. And on the weekly chart, we can see here that we seem to be, the energy flow is down, 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 down. If you look at the closes of this candle, so this one closed here, low, lower, lower, and it looks like we will also close lower. I think we'll probably end up coming down, potentially maybe back to here. 90,000 is possible. Um, 90,000 is possible. If we go look on the daily chart. This candle here is a big selling candle. and we've kind of bounced off the back of that. I think I will probably say, yeah, we do like 94.1, at least 94.1, 93K, somewhere here. We do something like that, and then we go up. And I would expect this to bounce up, I think. So I'm expecting a down and then a bounce. Because if I look, and this is a daily chart, so we are above zero on our MACD. We haven't gone below zero yet, so it's still a positive chart. And this candle here is still controlling the market. And I still think there is a high above this candle. I think there's a high above this candle before any collapse happens. But, maybe there's a small zip to the downside first to give people a bit of a scare before we kind of, try to go up. So that's what I'm seeing on this daily chart. Um, and then let's look at it from a 4 hour perspective. So 4 hours, what you can see is we've got this big selling candle here, and normally, of course, you go up first before you continue going down. So, I do expect this to continue going down. I expect some more downside on this, back into this range here, back into this range here, or even to test somewhere here. So, anything between here and here is okay. Anything there is okay because if I'm gonna do my counts here, then we've done we've done here, which is the major one. This is the major one. That's the major one. And we've come lower on RSI. Price is higher, which is this is high and this is lower. The RSI here. So would have allowed, well, I mean, ideally you want the price to have gone lower and RSI is higher. But the price has gone lower as it's higher and RSI is lower. That's the divergence actually. That's the divergence right there. So I like that. I like that. And off the back of that, let's zoom this all in and then see what it actually looks like. So this is the top, and we've gone up here, and that's our highest point of RSI from this point here. So that's where the divergence started, and this is our last one. So we've kind of from here, we've done the one drop here, and then we did another drop, I think here as well. We did another drop two, another drop three, and this is four. So we got four drops. Normally you get five, but we've only got four. Well, let me just see if I can count this again properly and see if I'm missing anything in the counting session. Okay, so I mean we could count this as one. We could count this section here as one because we've crossed the 50 EMA. So we could count this at one, and in that case, then that'll be two. Level one drop. I mean, this is one, two, three, four drops in itself, on its own as a unit. And this one, did this one go lower? I forgot these things here. Let's see. No, it didn't go lower. So we've got this one here, and then we've got this one here. Then we've got this one here, and then we've got this one here, and then we've got this one here. So I think you could say we got five. You could say we got five because this low and its divergence, this low and its divergence, this low, we don't have a divergence on it, but this low and its divergence, and this low and its divergence. And then off the back of that, we've done this move here, right? Done this move. And so if you want to start counting from the peak here, then you would say that is a move. This whole move here is one. If I get my MACD count, oh, this is one. One drop, one MACD wave, two, three, Got three MACD waves to the downside. We got a retest here. And I think there's a double retest probably coming. So I think, yeah, I would expect some downside, downside to this point here. And may well be that, look, we hit somewhere here, 90,000, and that gives us kind of like a full range. So we come back into here because we didn't really come back into this place here. So I would say if we don't stop there, then here to here becomes an area of interest for me. Yeah. So there's two areas of interest for me to the downside. This initial place here, and then there's this huge place here. So that's what I'm expecting in terms of Bitcoin. I would expect a bit more initial, a bit more downside first, a bit more downside, and then hopefully we can go. So that's Bitcoin. Let's look at TF, or let's start with UMA as well. So start on the weekly chart. Open this up properly so we can see. Okay, so the thing about this weekly chart is this is our big selling candle. And with this big selling candle, we have a rejection and we've gone up. This candle here, this close of this candle is going to be very important for me. If it closes below the body of this candle, let me just get it. If we close below the body of this candle, that won't be good. That won't be good. Ideally, that won't be good. If you want to close above it so that you say, okay, well, this is the low, kind of double bottom type scenario, and then we've done another high, and you start to do your higher highs. Um, so we'll see what this candle looks like. I always say when this candle appears and you go up like we've done here, and you come back down, chances are you're more likely to do a kind of a double bottom or go slightly lower. So that's probably what I would expect is a slightly lower figure on this. Maybe we come to 130, 130, or better still, 137. Oh, sorry, here, 133. Yeah, 133. Between 133, let me just put this here. 133, oh yeah, 133 and 126. This zone could be a very good interest area, I think, for the pullback. I mean, it all depends, like I'm saying, how it depends on the weekly chart. If by midnight this thing is green and it's up here, then that's it. That's the end of the fall. There's no ifs or buts about it. So it would depend. But let's go and look at it from a 4 hour perspective and see what are the chances of that happening. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the reasons being the candle we've just formed here is not good. It's a stopping candle. It's a triple red. And this is just a minor bounce to the upside on it. So yeah, I would expect some more downside, and I would expect this to keep going down and MACD to go down to zero, which means that potential fall is going to happen. That downward moving is going to happen. So a little bit more downside, I think, on UMA, based on this 4 hour candle that we've just formed. Let's look at tier and see what tier is doing. Tier here. So let's look at it from a weekly chart perspective and see what tier is doing. Tier is really done very well, I would say. On the weekly chart, it's looking really, really promising on the weekly chart. But I would expect us to eat into this candle. Um, I would expect some eating into this candle. I, 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 I've drawn this line here, which is I don't want to see price below this line, 330. I don't want to see price go below. We can eat all this up, that's okay. But if we close here and it's green, it will be green. And that would confirm that TS move to the downside is finished. Um, and if we close here, we might then potentially get a small zip to the downside, even come back somewhere here. 303, worst case scenario, and then we shoot off and off we go. So it's looking good on tier on this weekly chart. It's done some really, really good work. Now, let's go and see the 4 hours and see the potential for, are we just going to continue going up or are we actually going to come down a little bit more first? So let's zoom into this 4 hour chart. So on this 4 hour chart, we've done uh, we've done kind of three level drop, three level rises, if you ask me. So right from here, it's rise one. So we've done the rise here, then we pulled back into it, and then we've done another rise to this side two. That's rise two, and then we've done our rise three, and we have a stopping candle. So even with this move that we have in here, it could go all the way back up to here, 388. It could go all the way up to here, 388, 390, could even go up to 390. You know, all the way there, or even go and do a double top, or even go slightly above it um, before toppling back down. But yeah, I would expect a pullback on this based on this stopping candle we've got. This is controlling the market at the moment, which means, and if you go 1 hour chart, I'm going to have a look. Yeah, we've got a stopping candle as well here as well. So I think this is just a minor move to the upside. It's going to come back down. So I would expect us to, that to play out, that weekly chart, or even if you go on the daily chart, see the daily chart, I would expect us to come all the way at the very least, to here, somewhere here, 350, 348. But, that would be good. That would be good. It will still be above that 330 zone, which would be good in terms of the kind of end of the fall on tier. And even if we come down a bit more and come to about even here, it's still going to be very okay. You know, I personally don't think we'll go below this candle. I don't think we'll go below 235, but I could be wrong. And look, we have to play it safe. It's looking very good on the weekly chart. I would say it's looking really good on the weekly chart. So more optimistic, but there's a pink candle on it. I think on the spot chart, there's a pink candle, which I will show you guys here. So this is the spot version of tier, and we can see we have a pink candle. The good news is, when we've had it, we've come down and off we're going, right? So which is good. And there is a divergence here. There's a divergence here. This is a divergence between here and here. It's a divergence. If I go into the daily chart, we've kind of hit our low there, and price goes higher, but RSI goes lower. It's another form of divergence as well. So, but divergence on the daily chart, the only thing is that, we had this pink candle which has been recovered, which is good. So we've already gone below this pink candle, so which is good. So I like that. That's negated. So it's looking good. It's looking good. If this thing falls to somewhere here and continues to go up, that'd be really good. So TIA is looking really positive. I think the doom of, I think, $1.50 is gradually receding on it. It's receding. I'm more comfortable with what I'm seeing now. But doesn't mean I'm going to be, taking any risk on my trade. No. Um, I'm still as cautious as can be, and there are so many good things on this weekly chart. We've got a cross on stochastic RSI as well. So it's crossed, which starting to go up. There's a lot of good things here. Really, really good things that I'm seeing on this. And if the RSI starts to cross above zero, it crosses here. As you can see, when it crosses, you have exponential move. It crosses, you have an exponential move. So once this crosses, there'll be an exponential move that we'll also see as well. So T is looking good. Let's go and look at next one that we want to have a look at is uh, where is it? Oh, come up here. is PEPE. Let's look at PEPE. So PEPE is on the weekly chart. SRSI is just crossed as well. I think it's crossed. If I make it bigger. Oh, not yet. Not yet. It's about to cross, but it's not crossed yet. I mean, PEPE for me, it's not looking good. It's not looking good because despite of us falling to the low here, we try to go up. Okay, that's good. But now we are closing below the close here of this candle here, which is not good. So, we are closing kind of this candle closed here, and look, we are below it. It's looking more likely that people will go down some more. It will go down some more. I think it potentially maybe comes to about 5.8, 5.8, 5.9. I think it's possible on PEPE. Let's look at it from a daily chart and see if how that is shaping out on the daily chart. Let's just see how that is shaping out. Um, so on the daily chart, we've got our MACD is above zero. RSI is also looking positive. So we're falling to a low here and we're going lower, but price is higher, which is a good divergence. And then we've gone up and we've come down. I mean, somebody will say this is a W, but only if price goes above the body here. So if price closes above here, 10 to 10.30, I think, then yes, Pepe may be going up rather than actually going down some more. So it all depends on how this candle closes. Let's look on 4 hours and see if we can get some more insights as to whether that's likely or not. 4 hours is not looking good. I mean, we are below the 200, the 50 EMA, um, and we've just had a big sell of volume candle. So which means we'll go to the other side first before continue the journey down. So I would expect some more downside on Pepe. I think, let me see if there's any pink unrecovered candles, which will help us to know where immediately recovery. Yeah, I would say Pepe will come down. Yeah, it will come down. At the very least, this area becomes an area of testing. But it could have more downside. It could have some really more downside on it because we count the levels. Let's see, can we count all our levels on here? Hmm, Let's see where it started coming down from the peak here. So, oh, that is one drop. That's two there. That's three. So that's three. So there's a four and a five left. So yeah, I think this box looks good to me. That box looks good. Somewhere there, it'll fall in there. So a bit more downside on Pepe. But if it breaks above there, then that's a change. So that's Pepe. Let's go and look at AAVE quickly. So AAVE is also one that I think we've got our level one there. We've got level two here, and we've got level three there. So level three, and I think the only thing I would say with AAVE is needs to test these. Okay, we've tested a week a bit. Yeah, that week has been tested. Let's look at it on a weekly chart. Now, there's more downside on it. There's more downside. I think it will come down back to test this point again, 191, based on the weekly chart. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how this closes today. If this closes like this, then it's not good. It's just going to go down some more. At least it's going to come back into the zone again before we get a correction to go to the upside. So it depends on how this one closes. And I think the 4 hour chart, we are below the 50 EMA. So we are below the 50, which means the energy is not there. So I think there's more downside on this. There's more downside based on even this chart. We are below the key line. If we are above it, if we're above it, I'll be more confident, but we're not. So um, let's look at next one, which is SUI. SUI, I'm going to look at it from a weekly chart perspective first. So SUI on a weekly chart, it's not falling enough for me. It's not falling enough, SUI. Uh, it's not falling enough at all. I think we'll come back into this zone. We'll come back at the very least into these tops here. At the very least, these tops will be tested at the very least. Again, and then we see whether we get support. If I go on 4 hours to see if we can get a glean. Yeah, so we've got a pink candle here, which means we're gonna go lower. This is just a kind of a move to the upside to go lower. So yeah, it's gonna go down. It's coming all the way at the very least to this point. You know, I would say here is the initial point of control. So I will put it back down here. So this one, a bit more downside as well. Let's go to Solana. Solana, weekly chart on Solana first, and we have a big red fat candle here. Normally with these big candles, you kind of go the other way first. So, I won't be surprised if we close and we jump back up to about say 193 or even up here 187, something like that, before we continue going down. But I would expect some more downside on Solana, at least to somewhere here to the 130s, at least to the 130s. Yeah, at least somewhere there. I think Solana will come back to those zones. Let's look at 4 hours, see if there's any positivity on it. Yeah. So we've had this pink candle here, and that's given us a big bounce. Now we're coming back. I would expect us to exceed this candle. So, that 150 zone is very, very likely on Solana. Very, 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 very likely. It will go lower. If I'm going to count levels from here, then we will say that is one drop, two, this is three, this is four. So there's one more left. There's one more drop left on Solana. So yeah, gonna go down one more. But like I said, after this candle, you can expect a bounce. So we may bounce back up to about, I would say, even 180, up to all the way up to here is possible. 187, 185. So just bear that in mind. You could have a good bounce up before. Um, and then render quickly on render. Uh, let's commit this here, and then let's move this and see what's going on here. So render on the weekly chart, it's come to our area zone of interest here. It came all the way to 327, which was the previous. This one was 342, so it went even lower. The only thing is, I mean, it's not. Let me go and look at the other one. I like the one which is the oldest one, this one. The only thing is the strength is not there. It's very similar to most of the charts, apart from tier. You've had this candle, so we closed here, and now we are below it. We've engulfed this whole candle. If the week closes like this, where there's more downside, and I would say the area of interest for me would be this candle here. This becomes an area of interest. I think, it could well be the tops here, $2.60, uh, $2.60, $2.60, somewhere there. It will come to par with tier in terms of price. And I think maybe tier will go up and this one will continue going down. This is exactly what happened the last time. Tier goes up, render goes down, and then afterwards, tier goes down, render goes up. But yeah, the chart says we're going to go down. Let's go to 4 hours and see if that is not the case. We are below the 50, which means there's weakness. Um, and I would probably expect us to go below it. Yeah, below this candle. So that 250, that 260 zone is very, very much on the cards. I also did a kind of a trend line, and I took the trend line all the way from here, cuts across here on the weekly chart, cuts across there. So there's here somewhere here. So you can see when it hits this, breaks it slightly, that will be the reversal. It will go up. But if it closes below this line, then it could be very bad. So, but yeah, I won't be surprised if it comes to exactly where tier came to, which is $2. $2. It's, somewhere here, which is what, $2.40, $2.40. I'll put my area of interest in that box. So a bit more downside on this one too. Let's go to dot because I know Marshall has got dot. So huh, dot is looking good. So I like dot. I like the chart on dot. It's like similar to the tier chart. We've had a green and now we have another green. So if we close green on Sunday, if we close above, the key is to close above here, the top here. If we close above the top here, 487, then I would expect that, we won't, if we close above here, then you could have a small move down, a very tiny move down, maybe to about here, somewhere like here, 470, then off you go. Then you'll be going up, you know, because currently as we speak now, we have a divergence on the weekly chart between this and that. So price is going lower, but the RSI is higher. So if it stays like this, then it's looking really positive on dot. So I like dot. I like the chart on dot. So this is looking positive on dot. Let's look at Ethereum because Ethereum is one that I want to be trading going forward when I come out of tier. So Ethereum on the weekly chart, it's also doing good. So Ethereum is also doing some good work, on the weekly chart because what we've got this big selling candle here. We have this kind of green candle, and next we are kind of even above the wick, right? So long as we close the wick like this, I would expect maybe a small downward action, maybe to worst case scenario to 2-4. That's a worst case scenario. But ideally to somewhere here, 248. Let me put it here, 2-4 between here. I'd say between here and here, this box. Any price that comes into this box after a green candle, that's it. You're going up. I mean, ideally, it closes somewhere like let's say we close somewhere here, 27, we go into here and then off we go. Ideally you don't want to come below the lows. This is higher. So if you say this is the low, higher, higher, you would just want to do higher, 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 higher. Like here, see this one, low, higher, low, higher, 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 higher. If you're doing it from here, you say this is still higher. If you're doing this from here, this is still higher, and this is still higher from here. So you keep on going up and up and up. So if that happens, if we close like this and it's looking positive, then we'll be going up some more on Ethereum. Let's look at 4 hours and see if it's in the positive zone. Yes, it is in a positive zone. So it's above the 50, which is strong. So, I think, it closes above anything above here is a positive, and then we can go up some more. The only thing I would say is there's a pink candle sitting here, which is not being recovered. So I probably would expect price to go below it. So I'd move my expectations to somewhere here. I'd expect if we come back down, I'd expect this candle to be exceeded. So, but it's looking good. The chart is looking good on Ethereum. It's looking positive. Then let's go to Mecca because Mecca is done some really good stuff. You know, these are good coins. Those we should only be trading good coins, in my view. So going forward, I'm scaling it down. It's done a 50%, no, 100% move from what 778 to 1600. It's over 100%. That's over 100% move. That's I was looking at it. I was looking and I was like, oh, Maker is looking good, but I don't have any. I can't buy it because I would have been buying this at $700. Yeah, it's done 105. 105 move on it. That's a huge move, So double, literally double, over double the price. Um, so where does it go now? This is positive. I mean, even if you lose half of it and you come to say here, and you come to about like here, which is 14, no, 1200, you're still going to go up. You know, we're going to have a dead cross on it. There's a dead cross on the weekly chart. So when it happens, you can expect price to go down first before we go up, right? So, but it's done the good work to prevent the fall from going below this point. I don't think we'll go below 795 anymore, 793 anymore. So this is looking really, really good. This is a good chart. So strong chart. 4 hours will be in the positive territory. I know. So it's above the 50. It's above the 200. It's all good stuff. The only thing is, it's going to pull back. Like I said, there's going to be a pullback, and I think a pullback below 1500 is on the cards. So this pink candle here hasn't been exceeded. So that is your first port of call. So I would expect this to come to somewhere around 1300 at the very least. So my line is not too bad. My line from the weekly chart, which is here, maybe I'll move it a little bit higher. Yeah. So it's looking good, but there's a pullback. That's why, whenever you see these candles, you can get a good shot on them. At least 50% of the candle you can get, most of the time. Like all these candles here. Like look at this one here. You go more than 50% back. Look at this, you go more than 50% back. Look at this, you go more than 50% back. So look at this. After that, you go more than 50% back. So these candles, when they form, sometimes people get scared, but they are signs to say, look, people profit taking is going to happen. People going to take profit, and which means the price is going to go down. So that's Maker. Let's see which other coin that I want to show you. Pendle. Pendle is also looking good on the weekly chart. I really liked it from last week anyway. Last week when I saw this, I was like, okay, this looks really good. And I think I would expect this to come back in. And this line, I drew this line here. I would expect this to come back in at some, in the by next week, I sure will pull down. When the pullback comes from Bitcoin, because it's been rejected of this, So I'd expect it to come back in and then to somewhere here and between here and here, and then we can go proper. That's when the real run starts. So it's looking good on the weekly chart. 4 hours, again, we are below the 200 EMA, and this candle will be exceeded. This candle will be exceeded. So I'd expect it to come back in. Like I said, yeah, come back into somewhere here, or even come back all the way down to here where the move started, this point here, and then continue the journey. So pendle is also looking good after a good pullback. And then you've got Say is another good one that we can play with. So Say on the weekly chart, it's also looking good. See the good ones. You can see straight away when you look at it, it is a strong move to the upside above the selling candle. And I say if we close this candle above this, that's good. Means there's a change in tide has happened. And you can expect a small pullback, maybe a small pullback, and then off we go. So if we go into the 4 hours to kind of confirm, 4 hours is above the 50. but we are below the 200 and being rejected of the 200. So I would expect this to get rejected again. Um, and let me see if there's any interest candles that haven't been recovered. That's been recovered. We've come below that already. Let me see if there's anything sitting down here. There's nothing really. There's nothing sitting down here. So it will just be a normal pullback that comes back in to scare everybody, throw the people off the scent of the fact that we're going up 12 hours. Yeah, 12 hours is above. So, aha. So there is an interest candle here, pink candle. And so after it goes up a little bit, because this is going to cross, probably goes up a little bit, maybe to here, and then it will come back down and exceed this candle. So this candle will be exceeded. So let me put my line somewhere here as an area of interest. So it's also, but it's looking good. It's looking very good. I like it. I like what I'm seeing on this as well. Strong candle, strong coin. And I think Ondo, that's last one. Ondo is on the weekly chart. It's not looking too good on the weekly chart. I think there'll be more downside on this. This is one drop. This is two. And there's gonna be. I think it could come all the way down to this point here, or even 50% of this here. We could get that. We could get something around here, somewhere there. Let me go into 4 hours. Have a look at 4 hours and see. So 4 hours, we're falling low there. We've gone one, and there's a two left, and a three. So yeah, there's more downside for me. Um, there's more downside on this one. On the 4 hour chart, if we say, hold on a minute, from here, so this is one drop, this is two, one drop there, this is two drops, this is three. So we got three, and there's a four and a five left. So a bit more downside, I think, on this one. Um, Based on the weekly chart. The weekly chart is not looking good. It's not like the others, which is strong, above the previous green candle. So I'd expect some more downside on this one. So I think that is about all the coins that I wanted to review. So I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna stop recording.